Hey everybody, welcome back to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I'm your host Caleb.
Hi, I'm Seth. I talk Star Wars with this man.
I didn't throw you into the middle of a conversation like last time.
Mm-hmm.
Although I should have, because the conversation we were having would have been great as a starter, actually.
Yeah.
But anyways,
So we're back.
yeah, we're
after
back.
A little break.
We had a break, and in fact, we can talk about. Well, if you want to talk about it, we can
can.
talk about it. So you had to go on a trip, and this will be our what have we been up to this week.
Yeah.
So you had to go on a trip because you had a family member who was graduating.
Yeah, she graduated high school, and she got her She took an important test that let her be a nurse.
Woo! So
And
like
she-
RN type stuff.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
pretty sure she passed. She's confident.
okay. So like going for just RN or CRN right
I
now?
have no idea. She can do what she wants.
Because I have no idea what the order is of how that works. I just know there's RN, there's CRN, and that's about it of what I know. Because I know a lot of nurses.
And according to her teachers, she's fairly capable.
Yeah, well,
Which is not fairly capable, very capable.
well,
Sorry.
and also nursing is like one of those like jobs that like there's a little bit, not really there's more stability in it than there is like a lot of career fields right
Yeah,
now.
people are gonna get sick all the time.
And also usually there's always openings. Like it's one of those fields where there's almost always an opening for nurses. So yeah, well, congratulations.
Yay, you did it.
Yeah, you worked hard, and now you're gonna have to work even harder.
Now, the other thing about this trip is, it was a long drive.
Yeah, because you had to go very far north.
Yeah.
At least
And
relatively for
I
where we are.
remember I was doing the math for it.
It's probably not. I would assume it's not more than like. If I was to do the math of how many hours, just in my head, somewhere between. How many stops did you take? Actually, that's
Okay.
probably the question I should ask.
So, we took about 3 stops.
Okay, so it's gonna be like close to like a 12, 14 hour, probably
We
even
got 'em-
more.
We got them mostly done in like 8 hours.
Okay, that's not too bad then. I was thinking 8 hours, but I was like, that seems a bit short because I've done 8 hour drives all like that because that's like here to Orlando,
Mhm.
so like that's an 8 hour drive.
Yeah. Doing the math for it, like while I was up there, I was like, okay, so it's about 600 miles to get here. Then it's going to be another 600 something to get back down. So about 1,200 miles in 4 days.
Yeah. Hold on, let me. There we go. I'm just adjusting things. You
Yeah.
keep going.
Since I'm a little bit.
Well,
further back.
also the
Also,
fan is really kicking in on the computer.
Is.
I also have it on high power, so that's probably. Let me change that.
Yeah. So there was that. Dad went up there, and like,
Yeah.
so we all did that.
Yeah, it was
we
a
went.
whole-
Everybody showed up. That's for those of you who don't know about the podcast. We've talked about this before, but my parents broke up when I was pretty young,
Yeah. So.
and by pretty young I mean like 13.
But it also make because this was a big family event, so it makes
Yeah.
sense that
So
everybody.
it's like, and while my family will argue amongst each other, it's like, all right, it's another one of those times where it's like ceasefire.
Yeah, because it's it's not every day that a family member graduates.
Yep.
So that's a big deal. I mean, it is.
No, it is. That's why.
That's why. So that makes sense.
So we did that. Went hiking. We did a couple of other things. We jumped off a cliff into some water.
Yeah, I didn't catch a lot of the pictures on Facebook from your mom who posted. I didn't catch a lot of the stuff from when you were up there. I caught a couple. I saw the hike pictures and then I saw the beach when y'all got back because they came back down with you.
Yeah. Well, Mom came back down.
Yeah.
The other two
Yeah.
were still up
Everybody
there.
else, yeah. But no, yeah. So I saw that, and so that's about it.
So that's what I've been up to. What have you been up to?
I was telling you in the car, I've been mostly focused on X-Files.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh yeah.
So I've never really like my dad watched X Files, so like the theme songs in my head growing up, like it's a core memory still. Like I knew the theme song, which was weird when I watched the pilot and it doesn't have the theme song, but that's like a lot of pilots.
Yeah.
Like a lot of pilots don't establish their theme song until right away. It's usually the next second episode where you get the theme song, and so I never really sat down and watched it, even though like it's the perfect show for me. Honestly, it's a great show. Like, I mean, if you know my taste, sci-fi, semi-fantasy sort of stuff, cringe 90s. No, it's not cringe. It's good.
Don't you know what was cringe? Me fucking up the names of the protagonists in the car.
You did, yeah, because you were. I was talking to you about it. I was like, "So what? Have you watched it?" He's like, "You were like, I've seen clips here and there," and so like me, like
Yeah.
it was more of like episodes in passing, not really sitting down to watch it. I think you would also like it too, because it seems like you like cryptids and stuff like that, and the mysteries, and that's really what it is. It's a mystery show, and because while it's like the first season, because I'm in the first season right now, and there's a reason why I'm watching it, and it's for something later that for the channel, but I'm watching it for a reason, and so
Me over here. Yeah, their names are Skulder and Molly.
Skulder and Molly, which I was like, well, you're not that far off. It's Mulder and Scully. But you're not that far off. You got like, I give you like 50 points there out of 100. Like you got half point. It's like when you take a test and you get like only a half point.
Yeah.
It's that. You got a half point because you got close enough that like I can vaguely know what you're saying. But no, yeah. So like it was interesting seeing that, and then it's interesting like my brain. I didn't understand like the show is like actually like going, yes, no, these things are real in a way. Now, of course, they give explanations for how the weird things are real. They don't outright say it's this. They just go, it's kind of like that, and it's creepy, and you don't. It's like, and it's based on a lot of like classic horror and sci-fi. Like the episode that I'm on next, that I have to watch, that I'm watching next. I'm still in season 1, and so the next episode is called Ice. And I read the descriptions just to see, like, okay, is this one really important? Because, like, on Wikipedia, each episode, they basically go, this episode is a Monster of the Week episode and doesn't have any connections to the overall plot of the season. And then it also has, like, without having to read the plot, it says that. And then, like, it'll also say, if it's important, it'll go, oh, this episode's important to the plot, overall part, like, arc to the show. So, this is an important episode. But it also will say what the source is, like what their inspiration for each episode. So like, Ice is inspired by the book that The Thing and The Thing from Another World are based off of the 30s actual original story. So I'm interested to see. So they place it. So that's why it's like sci-fi horror adjacent. Like it's not. Obviously, it was on Fox in the 90s. So traditional television, so you can only get away with so much. It's only TV 14. It's not MA or anything. So it's not like American Horror Story in terms of how far on the horror scale does it go. It's a little softer, but it still gets pretty messed up. There's an episode like their first Monster of the Week episode. It's a guy who can slip through, like he can elongate himself a little bit, and he can slip through vents and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like, whoa, and it's just like, what the, and he can like, he's killing people because he's going for their I forget, livers, for their livers.
Oh,
and he's eating their livers, and apparently it's because he like hibernates. And so he usually will eat like 5 livers and then hibernate for 30 years.
Ah, okay.
And then come back every 30 years. And he's like not aged a lot. Like, and so like Mulder's like, oh yeah, this guy had. And so they explain it.
Mortal boneless.
So they basically explain that this guy, like, the way they explain it scientifically is he has like his whatever it is for.
Got no bones.
Well, no, he's got bones, but they explain like it's the reason that for his aging, like his lack of aging and his need to eat livers, it's a what's it called? I forget the word now. But they explain it scientifically. They're like, oh, he has to do this in order to survive and in order to do this hibernation thing every so often. And so, like, because his metabolism, that's what it is. They explain, like, the metabolism works differently. And so that's why his metabolic rate is different. And so that's why he can hibernate like that. And and if he's going to do it, he has to have so much, protein, like the liver gives a lot of, And so, yeah, like I said, it leans into that horror a little bit without, like, outright just... So, like, yeah. And the last one that I watched last night was AI related, actually.
Oh, yeah?
It was, and reading the Wikipedia, it's funny because the writers are like, we kind of are disappointed in our writing in this one because we're not technological, like they aren't computer savvy, so they're like, we kind of just wrote this and we don't know.
We're like, this is how we think it works. We don't know if it actually does that.
But at least the writers, like, they're willing to acknowledge that. They're like, we don't know. We wrote a fun episode of what we think could happen. And it's basically a computer that's killing people, that's, like, attached to a building. Like, it's a computer, it's the OS for the entire, like, building for, like, the company that built it. And it's, like, it runs the power or the elevator, and it has the cameras, and it's everything. And so the reason it starts killing people is for self-preservation, because they were going to shut down the program that created the computer, and the computer's like, wait, I want to live. And so it's like self-preservation, which of course the argument of, is it aware, is it, yeah. And then the reason they end up destroying it is because they don't want the government getting it, because the creator of the program basically compares himself to Oppenheimer, and he's like, the worst thing that Oppenheimer did was give it to a government.
Well, yeah. I mean, do what you gotta do, man.
And so yeah, he created a virus to destroy it, so that way the government couldn't get it. So it's an interesting show. I'm loving it. I should have watched this earlier. Honestly, this is a show I should have checked out sooner. It's definitely my, like, it's very Caleb coded. It's that sci-fi weirdness that's just right for me. So I'm even after I finish the thing, the reason why I'm watching it, I'm going to continue watching it. Other thing I did, since this last Tuesday was my turn. Well, you missed 2 Tuesday viewings. I think you popped in a little bit for one of them, because the Brits one was we watched Black Butler.
Yeah.
Which
that was last Thursday, I think.
Oh, Thursday. Sorry, Thursday. So you missed You missed one Thursday. You missed the last Thursday. This week's one. Or
yeah, I was busy.
You were busy. You were on vacation and etc. And so the previous one we watched Black Butler for the first time because it's one of her favorite anime, so she made me watch it. I'm liking it. We jumped around because she was like, we're gonna ignore the non-canon material, so we just watched the canon material. We are officially at a point where we can just, and that's going to be, at the time of this airing, it's the Thursday that just happened, but at the time of recording, it's today. We are going to continue watching, and we're at a point where we can just streamline watch. There's no skipping seasons or anything, because we're now in the modern episodes of Black Butler. On my week, though, you'll be glad for what I introduced, I continued with. So I asked her a question before I did it. I said chronological or release order. And if you know what I made her watch last time, you know where this is going. She said chronological, so we did not watch your favorite movie.
Ah, damn it. Okay.
Your favorite movie doesn't happen until 2019.
Yeah.
The far future of 2019. At least at the time of when the movie came out. To let y'all in on the joke, I made her watch Highlander the series. We are currently 6 or so episodes in. We're watching in chronological order though, but not in episode release date order, because there's certain episodes here and there that just you have to flip around for it to make sense.
Yeah.
Like, mainly because of minor characters. It's not even for like the main characters. It's because of minor character stuff that doesn't make sense. Like meeting the reporter in a certain order, meeting the some of the cops in a certain order, where it doesn't make sense, where it's like, hey, I know you, and it's like, wait, how do you know them? This is your first time interacting with them.
Yeah.
And then you watch like the next episode, it's like, oh, this is the episode where they would have met if they aired these in but shows do that all the time, and so like Clone Wars does that. Clone Wars did that for like the first 3 seasons. It's ridiculous.
I remember while we were sitting down to watch
yeah, because we watched it on Peacock.
Yeah.
Which I think the show is no longer on Peacock, unfortunately. The only show on Peacock is the animated series, which is a choice. That is a choice, Peacock. But yeah.
Don't worry, they never got anything right with the subtitles. It's fine.
My subtitles are thankfully better for how we're watching the show, for how Britt and I are watching. Yeah. Only slightly, though. They still get a few words. Like, they kind of shorthand.
I just remember, like, the cop one, the one where, like, the cop is just, like, a horrible person, and his partner isn't.
Are we talking about the veteran episode with Leo? Where they're in like the sticks town?
No.
Okay.
No, it happens after that.
I'm trying to think. Hold on, I've got the episodes because I'm keeping track of where we are.
It's in like one of the later seasons, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay, we're still in season 1. Okay, because we only really got as far as the last one we watched was, I believe, Mountain Men.
Okay, so you guys are a little...
Yeah, we're a little further behind still. We're only like a quarter through season 1.
But I'm remembering at the time where the dirty cop, the one that sucks and who chewed gum that pissed me off the entire time, is like...
Oh, is this the French when they're in France?
No, they're back.
Oh, this is after they come back.
It's after they come back. It's also after...
There's so many weird cops, too, because like there's never like... while watching it with Britt, I was like, oh my god, they keep just switching out the cops every 3 episodes. Yeah. They switch out the main cop character every 3 episodes.
Yeah.
But keep the reporter. But they keep the reporter.
Yep. I'm remembering it, and the reason why it's funny to me is because the gum-chewing dirty cop that I hate goes, what are you gonna do? Shoot me? And I'm like, as we're watching, we see the partner take out his gun, and I'm like, yeah, as a matter of fact, I think I will.
Okay, yeah, I remember now what you're talking about, yeah. But yeah, no, we're the last one we watched was Mountain Men, which is my personally least favorite episode because of the fact that there is a character name that shares my name, and I hate him so much. I think Britt said though that was the episode actually, weirdly enough, that got her like kind of more into the show though.
I think when Ty was over at our
that
house,
was the episode that Ty watched.
Well.
Caleb, it's Caleb, because he's like the Mountain Man, so it's like, but he doesn't have the Mountain Man beard that I had for a while. No, it's more trimmed. She also said it was kind of the weirdest episode because it's an episode where you don't realize that he's an immortal until like they outright tell you. Like the show has to outright tell you, otherwise you don't get it, because he really is just a normal guy.
Yeah.
Like he's a normal guy until the show's like, no, this is an immortal. And it's like, is he?
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
I think this is just a guy with an axe going around
kidnapping women and trying to make them his wife.
Like, what are you doing?
But yeah, we're not quite on my favorite episode yet because of the switching episodes around. Which is because I like the Richie episodes. I think that's one of her favorite episodes. Like she likes the Richie episodes too. My favorite Richie, yeah, Reggie for you. My favorite Richie episode though is the one about him delving into his past and trying to like learn about his mom, and we haven't gotten there yet. When he meets the guy who pretends to be his dad, and so we haven't gotten there yet. We're getting there though. We're getting there. I think it's episode 11 in the current viewing order, and so it's like not that far away from where we are. Anyways, that's what we've been doing, and so yeah. Let's talk about some news because we have being gone for a week makes us behind on news a little bit. Let me kind of order these in a specific way that makes sense. That's TV. Yeah. Okay. We'll start with Mandalorian and Grogu news. This is sort of speculation, but it's a little bit. It's provided by a more legitimate movie news source, so I kind of like they back it up, and so that's why I'm willing to talk about it, because there's other stuff that was on here that I was like, we can skip that because there's no credible source behind it. So originally it was sourced by Jeff Snyder through his newsletter that Sigourney Weaver is in talks to be in Mandalorian and Grogu. So that's still a credible news source. Jeff Snyder's pretty good at reporting news. Like we've seen his name pop up multiple times when talking Star Wars, or talking movie news in general. But the more credible source that I'm interested in is that the Hollywood Reporter backed it up, and Hollywood Reporter, big name, a lot of credibility behind them. They usually don't report on something unless there's enough information for them to say yeah on, and so it's not it's not like if we wrote the news and we're like, hey, this has happened, because we don't know things. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on the inside.
I don't know a lot.
We don't have insiders, is what we're saying. Yep. If you want to be an insider, no. If you work for Disney and you want to tell us all the secrets, we'll make sure not to mention your name, and we'll...
As a matter of fact, we'll
lie and say it's somebody else.
Yeah.
No,
we're not.
No. We don't want anybody to lose their job. No. Plus, it's fun having, like, it makes sense because over time you get insiders, and that's how you make connections, and then that's how you have insiders. You don't, but so Hollywood Reporter backed it up, and basically was like, yeah, so far any details regarding Sigourney Weaver's character are being kept under wraps. Which probably means that we can kind of assume that soon enough we'll find out details, because that usually at this point where it's at that level of, hey, we're keeping things under wraps, that means one, she probably got the job, and two, that means fans that report on that stuff are gonna find out what the role is, or at least we're gonna start hearing rumors and speculations.
Yeah. Now all we have to do, now they just turned to Sigourney. Now they're like, all right, all you have to do is keep quiet, otherwise you go into the actor pit.
The same one that we put Tom Holland in.
Yeah.
And who else goes there? It's Tom Holland and I forgot Mark Ruffalo.
Yep.
Tom Holland and Mark Ruffalo go into the actor pit for the spoiler actor pit. You're not allowed on social media. You're not allowed to go to press junkets. You get put in the pit. And if you do go to a press junket, we're gonna have a more critically acclaimed actor join you to chaperone and basically make sure you don't say something. Like, we'll send a Benedict Cumberbatch with you. And we definitely won't send, like, two of you together. Like, we're done doing that, because we used to do that. We used to send Tom Holland and think, oh, Mark Ruffalo's going to keep him in line. No.
The actor pit is one of those bits where I'm like, I'm glad we came up with this.
I'm glad that, like, TikTok, like, just feeds that too. Now, Tom Holland's gotten better, though. Like, he can honestly be at press junkets without an issue now. Like, he used to say a lot, but now I think he's gotten a lot more PR, like, training, because that's what PR training's for. PR training is for that type of stuff. So yeah. So this is interesting. So there's a company named Luminate who basically did some research for Disney Plus to see like their like viewership numbers, and it's like for the year so far. So starting with December 29th of last year all the way to May 10th of this year. So only a few days from only like a week or two from well, a couple weeks by the time this episode comes out. So not that old of information. And the study basically showed that like about 15% of viewership is still like Star Wars content of like the originals, like looking at just the originals, not looking at like the movies and throwback material, right? And it's actually interesting seeing like how much of older shows are still being like continued to watch. So like Mandalorian season 1 still has 2.6% of viewership. That's a lot. Like when you think about it, like, and then Loki season 2 has 3.1. Mandalorian season 3 has 3.3. Ahsoka season 1 has 3.6, which that's our second most recent Star Wars show. But just 3.6 is still nothing to sneeze at when you think about it. Like when it's been a few months and we've already had another show that just ended and we're still watching Ahsoka, and then Renegade Nell. That's a show that I've seen on the banner, but I haven't checked out. 3.6%. The Bad Batch season 3 has 6.3%, and then interestingly enough, that's really close to the other show that's really big right now, and honestly has more press behind it. Because Bad Batch season 3, I feel like didn't get a lot of press really, even though it's the last season, which is really a sign that you really should be pushing. I feel like, but surprisingly, it didn't need it because X-Men '97, which was the bigger show, only had 6.8%. So it's only like a 0.5% over. So that's not that's pretty close for a show that's like, and then some bigger show, and so that's like all the Star Wars content, and then you get to like bigger numbers where you get Echo at 11.8%, which good on that show. I think it's a good Marvel show, and it's so like if you kind of gotten tired of Marvel, Echo is a little bit of a change up, and so that might be part of why there's so much interest. It's also the first mature rated Marvel show that's made by like Marvel under this new like the new Marvel TV banner, not like because remember during the Netflix years it was a different brand, and then they like rebrand, like they got a new studio, like Marvel Studios specifically is making the Disney Plus shows. They were not behind the Netflix shows, and so this is the first Marvel Studios mature rated show, and it's doing well. So that's good to see. That might give Marvel more incentive to do more of those type of shows, which they're arguably already doing that with Daredevil Born Again. But we don't know how that's going to end up yet because it's still in progress. And then the biggest piece of the pie, well, second biggest piece of the pie is Percy Jackson and the Olympians, season 1, which was 23.3%. So that makes sense. It's you know, it's got a big fan base.
Yeah,
the PGO fan base is big.
I remember reading it when the books were first coming out.
Yeah, it's a good show.
They're good books.
Yeah,
go read them.
Yeah, the show takes some creative liberties as an adaptation will.
Most of them kind of have to, because it's like you can't get everything. So
although they explain the biggest confusion in the first book, how do you get from the bridge to the river?
Don't worry about it.
They explain that. They give a good explanation for it there, because in the book it's just like he jumped and he was in the river, and then like people who live in the area are like, he would have to like jump like
the water got him. Don't worry.
Yeah, the water got him, which is how the show explains it. The show.
I'm like, no, that's literally.
But the book doesn't explain that. It's left up to reader interpretation. But the show literally goes, yeah, no, yoink. And so
I'm like, well, he would just go in the water.
But how would he get to? Because it's a big jump. It's is what people were saying. Like it's a stupidly wide gap.
Oh, I see. This is a case of like because it uses real world space that the math doesn't math.
Yes, because
properly.
he's using a real world place, jumping into another real world place that is actually on a map, and you can look at it and you can go, he can't make that.
Whereas I'm not from there, so I don't know and I don't care.
Yeah, and so that's most people, and that's also Rick Riordan.
He's like,
Never
I'm
seen
not
it.
from there. It's a case of like an author being like, I wrote it. I don't know how they're gonna make this work. They'll have to figure it out.
And the show does.
I'm not explaining shit.
Yeah. And then the last 30, like the biggest, like I didn't mention a real Bug's Life 2.6% as well, but the last big percent is just other, so 33%. So that's probably like watching. That's probably like watching reruns of old cartoons that you. That's like watching the probably
I was
the
about to
legacy
say,
stuff.
I'm imagining that's like other collective like shows rather than a show called Others.
Yes. That's a collect. That's like your. I'm gonna say the majority of that's probably like legacy shows and movies, like older Disney content that they added to the. And so, Star Wars News Net speculates on some stuff with that information, talking about potentially a change up with how much new content we'll be getting versus Disney just relying on the legacy content, since 33% is a big percent, but that's also only 33%. A lot of this is still new content. That's still 70, like, that's still, yeah, 77, about 77-ish.
Yeah.
Give or take, because it's not a full 100%. There's some rounding in there. There's not a full 100% on the graph.
There's a little approximate.
Yeah, there's an actual graph. I'll show the audience. Let me pull up the graph for them so that way they can see what we're looking at, because the company that did this put up an actual graph. So there's the actual graph.
Yeah, there you go.
So that you can pause if you want back to it, but that's essentially what we're looking at. And so there's actual information here, and honestly I think it's nice and refreshing to see these numbers, because like ever since really streaming became a thing, there's nobody tracked really like publicly these numbers. Like it's not like back in regular TV days where we had the Nielsen ratings where they could go, this many million viewers watched it on when it aired. But I think watching something when it initially airs is not the goal of a streaming service. It's how long can we keep their retention on something, or in general keep it on on this app. How long can we keep them in this streaming service? Because you're fighting for but we're also in a area. We're in a weird zone where now we're basically going back to cable, because I don't know if you know, but Disney, Hulu, and Max are going to do a streaming bundle essentially, and they're basically, it's like cable. You get the 3 and you get access to all 3. And then on the other side, Netflix is doing one with, I'm trying to remember who Netflix is teaming up with. The only one not involved in the bundle war, Peacock and Apple TV Plus. So Netflix, Peacock, and Apple TV are doing their bundle. The only one that's kind of staying out of the bundle game right now is Amazon, but that's because Amazon kind of does its own. Like, it's weird. It has original streaming shows, but
Amazon's kind of over here with like a weird "we do what we want" stance.
Yeah, it's the Nintendo. It's the Nintendo stance of we just kind of do whatever we feel like. But unlike Nintendo, I would say they're probably not as big in the game as these others. Whereas Nintendo can make that argument of we can do what we want. Amazon, I feel like, has less of an argument there. But also, Amazon's money probably doesn't mostly come from its streaming service. It comes from everything else.
From all the other stuff it does.
Yeah. So the only other one besides that, though, staying out is... what's the one? Or is Paramount teaming up with one of them? I thought Paramount was in one of them. It is not. So Paramount is not currently involved either in the streaming bundle new cable war.
Yep.
And basically, they're arguing that we'll do this bundle, and then you save money by buying the bundle, and it's cheaper to get the 3 this way versus buying each one individually. Now, is it going to be truly cheaper? We'll see. But so seeing that information is important because of those reasons. As we watch, like, streaming basically become cable again, including with commercials, which
defeats the original intent. But who cares?
Yeah.
Anyhow, Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, continuing with TV stuff. Skeleton Crew, we have first official kind of images of the main cast, including a alien character. We get a what's the begins with a P.
Pentoran.
No.
Wait, no, that's
the
different
other
thing.
That's the other blue people.
Nope, wrong thing. Oh, God, what are they called?
Oh,
give me one.
sorry, I confused you. It's an O. It's Ortolans. But yeah, we got an Ortolan kid. We got a cyborg kid. Once again, I'll pop up the image for our viewers at home.
And so, kind of seeing the image, this prompted, before we started recording, me to ask an important question.
Yes, so yeah, this is a conversation I said we had to come back to for now, which is, I'll let you present the question.
So, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, well, if you get cybernetics as a child, for whatever reason, you would have to go and get them, like, refitted every couple of months to years, right? Because you don't stay the same size as you grow up.
Yeah, I mean, up until, like, maybe 16 or 17, you can, like, once you hit, like, 16, 17, you can probably, like, mostly keep the stuff you've got. But even then, I was like, I said, well, at the same time, it's kind of like having a PC. You gotta, like, I would think every now and then upgrade the hardware so that way, you're not falling apart. Get the newest CPU.
I need my ARM to run at 90 FPS.
But yeah, no, because
But like, thinking about it, I'm like, no wonder cybernetic doctors make a killing in Star Wars.
I wonder if their insurance works like the U.S. insurance, where you I know at least in the Outer Rim, that's probably definitely how it works.
Put a down payment on your cybernetics. 500 credits.
God, Valence would be paying out of the fucking ass.
Yeah. Thank God.
Maybe the Empire gives maybe that's the one benefit of the Empire. Maybe they have good health care.
when they want to.
When they want to, if you're a human.
If you're human, if you're not, you get fucked.
Because it's the Empire still.
Yep.
But yeah, because
they charge you extra. They're like, you're they go, you're part of the Empire, meaning you're our property. Don't get hurt again. You're getting a pay cut, as a matter of fact.
I can't remember with because when he first gets injured the first time, when when he initially blows up and Han saves him, I'm trying to remember, like, the Empire basically threw him out, which is why he became a bounty hunter. Because the Empire was like, yeah, you're busted now. We don't want you as a TIE fighter pilot. Get out of here.
Shoot, go away.
It's that scene in every movie where with the boy and his dog, and he always has to give up the dog, and he's like, I don't want you anymore. Don't you see? And throws baseball to get the dog to run away. It's like very Air Bud specific is that scene, but like a lot of movies did that trope. I don't want you anymore. Just imagine Valence getting Vader goes, "I don't want you anymore." Throws his lightsaber at him.
Someone should just re-edit that scene with like Valence's face on the ball.
No, Valence is Airbud.
Okay.
Vader's the boy, and then the ball is Vader's lightsaber. I don't want you anymore.
Oh my god.
But no, yeah. So like, yeah. I mean, I would imagine, especially like with the kid that we have in the image here. I mean, they're a kid. You've got headband cybernetics. So like, your head's gonna grow a little bit. Like, it's gonna get a little bigger. Maybe not much bigger, but it's still gonna like a little bit bigger. And so that's gonna be, you know. God, growth spurts gotta suck.
Yeah.
God, imagine your cybernetic leg being like shorter than your actual leg because you got taller.
Yeah, be careful. You gotta go and take it in for adjustments.
But yeah, that's really it for TV shows. Let's get into books. So this is mostly confirmed. So we're getting some Legends re-releases, continuing the the Essential Legends collections that we've been getting. So the 3 books that are in the that are predicted to be in the next wave and are kind of accurate from what we've seen. Force Unleashed 2 novelization.
Okay.
Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader by James Luceno. Force Unleashed 2 is by Sean Williams, who also wrote the first book and is also one of the lead writers on both games. And then Scoundrels by Timothy Zahn, which that's a pretty good lineup. Force Unleashed 2 is a little... I think the novels for Force Unleashed games are really good. I feel like they fit better into the ideas of what the Force Unleashed was trying to do while staying more in line with how the Force works in Star Wars. They kind of make Starkiller more down to earth a little bit, like instead of doing the epic bullshit that he does in video games. Like the first book explains the Star Destroyer scene as more he's not pulling it down, he's just redirecting it. Whereas because it's already falling, and even in the video game it's already falling. It's just they don't explain it that way. But in the book they explain it. They're like, no, he's redirecting it so that way it falls a certain direction. And yes, that is still a difficult feat, so it's still impressive, but it's not the super uber level impressive that everybody, like, it's not ridiculous. Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader, James Luceno book, so obviously people are gonna love it because James Luceno, and it's a good introspective, like it's a character study, which is kind of thing like James Luceno likes his character studies. He likes his character studies and his in-depth conversation about how technology in Star Wars works. Those are his 2 like big things. And then Scoundrels is a heist book. It's Han, Lando, and Chewie pulling off a heist. So, and it's like, I think it takes place in between episodes 4 and 5. So it's like them pulling off a heist because Han still owes money to Jabba, and they're like, we got...
Who doesn't owe money to Jabba, to be fair?
Valence, I think. Or Boba Fett.
Valence and Boba don't owe him shit.
Valence's problems are more with the Empire. Boba's problems are more with Bib Fortuna.
Yeah.
That motherfucker.
I like how quickly he just shoots him when he comes back. He's so fucking tired of
He's
him.
like, you tried to have me killed multiple times. Let's not forget what happened in War of the Bounty Hunters.
Not one of them worked.
Let's not forget what happened in War of the Bounty Hunters.
Boba, I'm still mad about it.
But yeah, these are Legends books, so not canon, but still good. Like good books, so good to that they reprint them. And then we got covers for the books that are coming in a few days, June 4th.
Oh boy.
Which are the Lando Calrissian Adventures, because we talked about this wave. It's the Lando Calrissian Adventures, Uh, it's the 501st. Which one is this specifically? It's. Oh, come on. It's the Imperial Commando 501st novel and Iron Fist, which is part of the X-Wing. It's the Rogue Squadron stuff, which, once again, for the sake of audience, I'll show y'all. So, the Imperial. I mean, we'd seen the Imperial Commando one before because people called it out that it kind of looks funky. It's kind of the ugliest of the three. It's like the weird measurements of arms and stuff.
I don't mind it, actually. It's not the strongest one there, but
no.
I could see myself reading that one out of the other two.
Well, yeah.
I mean, between the three of them.
Also, Karen Traviss has other issues that... yeah. But, that's another conversation for off-air.
I see.
Karen Traviss has controversy behind their name. So, a lot of Star Wars fans, while we appreciate a lot of what she did for Mandalorian culture, it's also kind of weird because of the outside knowledge about the author. So, it makes it weird. But yeah, lastly in book stuff, we got an excerpt for Temptation of the Force, the next High Republic novel. So we got a little of an explanation from Tessa Gratton first about this excerpt, and then we got the excerpt, and so I'll read both. And this is all from StarWars.com. So Tessa Gratton said, "I like to joke that at heart, Temptation is a bunch of really intense conversations wrapped up in action, banter, and Burryaga being quietly stressed out in the background. But honestly, there are 4 conversations between Elzar and Avar that make up the emotional spine of the book. Despite it being chapter 1, it's the last conversation I wrote. For a long time, the scene existed only in the characters' memories up until, during the editorial process, it became clear that the timeline for the prologue and initial chapters needed to shift. Voila, I got to write the whole thing out. I hope you enjoy." So this is the conversation between them. That Avar Kriss walked quietly down the corridor of the Jedi Temple, a ceramic bottle of sour stone mead in one hand, a box of Keldov nut pastries in the other. When she reached Elzar Mann's quarters, she paused, tucking the liquor under her arm, and flattened her palm to the cooled metal door. In most of the temple, the song of the Force flowed peacefully, easily. This place was no exception. She pushed her awareness outward, reaching for her friend. He was in there. A small smile played on her lips, but before she could knock, the door slid open. Elzar was scratching at his beard, but his hand fell away at the sight of her. "Avar!" "Elzar." Her smile faded into something soft and expectant. "I'm leaving in the morning." "I know." That was all he said, staring at her. Avar waited, studying the thin lines of stress at his eyes, the way those eyes focused on her, unblinking. His beard had grown full, though he kept it trimmed shorter than Stellan's had been. He wore only the innermost layer of his temple robes, white tunic and white pants. His feet were bare. When he noticed her glance down, he moved his toes against the thin carpet. "Can I come in?" she asked. She wanted to add, "The last time I left you, I did it badly. I didn't want to leave without you again. Without us." "Of course." Elzar backed up, and Avar followed, pushing the pastry box against his stomach. "Are these from Tal Ares?" he said in a hushed tone. Avar grinned. "It's exactly where it used to be, down that alley in the Jadeite neighborhood." "I'll get plates," Elzar hummed a little in pleasure as he went to the corner cabinet. "And cups." Avar set the meat on the floor, then removed her boots and hung up not only her cloak, but the outermost gold layer of her robes as well. After a second thought, she took off her belt and lightsaber too. In the 6 weeks she had been back from Nihil-occupied territory, she hadn't grown used to the layers of appropriate Jedi attire again. She embraced the temple uniform for what it symbolized, though, being a part of a whole, a melody in a great symphony. It was unfortunate that this new mission would require her to remove it. Meanwhile, Elzar had always hated the formal robes, and he wore them every day now. They'd both had to adjust. Avar bent, stretching her hamstrings and calves, and grabbed the liquor. There are 3 buns, Elzar said suddenly. She looked up, startled. He stood at the counter, where 2 small plates and cups were stacked on a dark tray, and looked down into the open pastry box. Avar swallowed. When I walked into the shop, I was so overwhelmed. It smells exactly the same. The menu is the same. The eat-in stools are just as chipped. That old painting over the pickup counter is the same. I ordered what I always ordered without thinking, and when I realized, I couldn't bring myself to make any corrections. Shaking herself out of it with a sip of sweetened mead, Avar said, "It will be mission after mission, each time with different priorities, different goals, rescues, and relief works." "Sounds good. Sounds like making a difference out there." Elzar's tone was rife with the subtext. "Better than the politics here. Better than anything I'm doing." "Danger. Experimental use of the Force. Questionable allies. Sounds like," Avar said, glancing at him from the corners of her eyes, "a mission perfect for Elzar Mann." He grimaced. "It's better for me to stay on Coruscant." "Why?" "I've been here liaisoning.
Liaising.
Yeah, I had it right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's alright, man. Sometimes words get weird when
You see the
when you see them in like a present tense format.
I've been here liaising between the Council and the Chancellor for nearly a year and a half. It would be disruptive for me to leave. The Chancellor trusts me." "El," she said gently, with only a slight censure. His answer was a line for the Senate or the public. Maybe fellow Jedi, but not her. For a long time he was quiet. Avar could hear him in the Force. It had been awful last year not knowing if she'd hear him again. The comforting, necessary harmony of his familiar song. Not having it when she reached for it had taught her a lot about what she needed, who she was. Avar grabbed Elzar's bun and tore it apart. She held a chunk up to his mouth, and he smiled a little, eating it. As he chewed, his attention drew inward. At different times in their lives, they'd been as close as 2 beings could be. She knew him better than anybody, and she could tell Elzar was aware of the real answer to her question. He was searching for the version he wanted to share, what he was willing to tell her. A long time ago, he'd have told her anything. "Not them having a bun for Stellan."
It's like, how do I explain I got like our best friend killed, and also I fucked up real bad.
Well, it's not even that though. But also Avar getting that bun just out of
Habit. Yeah.
Oh, it hurts.
Muscle memory is a bitch like that sometimes.
Well, I guess we're gonna get hurt when we read this book.
What do you mean? I'm hurt now. I'm not showing it, but fuck, why do you do that? Why'd you just go straight for the heart?
Tessa said, "How do I hurt them in chapter 1?"
Damn, lady.
No. And we get 3 more of these type of conversations.
Briaga. I'm just so glad that he's okay.
Just stressed out. The man needs a vacation.
Briaga's like, I've been dealing with some bullshit.
Let's get into today's topic, though. Let's get into actual topic, because we are almost an hour in.
Oh, man.
So this is our usual, spoiler warning.
Yeah, spoilers for
Tales of the Empire. So, do we want to kind of just talk about them in the order of episodes?
So let's just talk about it as a whole.
Okay, we'll just kind of...
Yeah. Because I'll probably end up talking about them in order anyway.
How do we feel about these 2 characters? I think these were probably the best, some of the best. It is weird, but I'll let you.
Okay, I still don't really care about Morgan Elsbeth. I know you're important to the story, but I don't care.
I fit
not like as a point of malice. It's just I don't know who you. I'm having an I don't know who you are kind of moment.
But they are introducing more about like, and so I like the Clone Wars connection. I think it's weird though, because it's something it's something that some friends pointed out, that it's weird that Tales of the Empire is not actually about Imperials.
Oh yeah, no.
It's about Imperial adjacent characters.
Yeah, I was a bit confused because I'm like,
because Morgan Elsbeth is not Imperial at any point during the episodes, and then, in fact, she kind of distrusts the Empire. The only reason she's willing to help them is because Thrawn gives like enough information to be like, "Hey, trust me, we'll be cool." Like Thrawn gives just enough of like, "Hey, trust me."
Yep. And by extension, the Empire. If you trust me, by extension, the Empire will trust you.
Yeah, and like she trusts the Empire enough to give up her people, but we see how that goes for the. Because yeah.
Crazy how Thrawn put a hit out on her.
Well, Thrawn was just testing her.
Yeah.
Thrawn's like, I'll send Rook after her, and if she handles her own, cool. That means she's worth having part of our team. If not, oh well.
There's that, and then like in the first short, like I'm like, oh, I already know where this is going. Hey Morgan, maybe leave this one be.
Yeah, this was a case of it's given us it's trying to show us that while Morgan has a right to be angry, she takes it too far in that first episode, because we see like her seeking out, because she seeks out the trouble. Like that's the only reason that the trouble finds them, is because they look for it. Like the only reason the droids even figured out where they were is because Morgan looked for them.
As I was actually trying to figure this out, right? Because Morgan knows where like the weapons from her clan are, right? And I was thinking about it. I'm like, okay, why do the droids know where that is? It doesn't make sense for them to know that.
Well, maybe like after they
like the other
they just I
the
think
logical explanation is maybe they searched the area.
That's what
afterwards.
I'm thinking. Because like I would assume they were searching for a while, just looking for survivors and making sure that they got them all.
Yeah, that's like the logical part.
And I do think that they were right, that the mother of the Mountain Clan was right and was like, "Hey, they won't come this far." I think she was right. I don't think they would have bothered with that, because they were after a specific clan. They were after specifically Asajj Ventress's clan, and they got him.
Yep. And it was like.
Well, except for our girl in Jedi. They didn't get her. Didn't get Merrin.
Yeah. But what I was thinking, another thing is like when the daughter of the Mountain Clan like is going and she's like, our way is true. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm glad you're at peace with that. I know you were feeling conflicted. It's not helping you right now.
No.
Like in the physical, you're still going to die sense, but at least you're at peace. So that's a nice thought.
I will say I think the Barriss arc was the strongest of the two.
Oh yeah.
I think Barriss had the better arc. I like her story, and I'm glad where they took it, because a lot of people were like, "Oh, she's just gonna be evil," and that nope. She ends up having a really beautiful arc, and I think it goes where. Now, would I have been opposed to them leaning into full evil Barriss? No, but I think this is probably the better option.
Yeah, I'd say between those two, from what I know and understand of Barriss as a character, she's too soft to be evil.
Now,
you know what I mean, right?
I will say
it's a weird way to phrase it.
Yeah, I will say one of my predictions was wrong. They did not explain Luminara's death. Like I thought that was gonna be Barriss's final test, but nope. Luminara's just killed by some other Inquisitor somewhere along the lines, or Vader. We don't know. I think we still don't know. But no, they took her path very Red Blade, Inquisitor Red Blade. So Except she got out faster.
Yep.
Barris is like, nah, I'm not.
Barris, what if I just said fuck this and left? Like, I'm fine with hunting down Jedi, but we need to, like, arrest them. And it's like, who gonna tell her? That's not what the Inquisitors do.
She's like, we need to take them and maybe see if they'll join us. And they're like, nah, we're already
What the
past.
fuck are you
We're
talking
past
about?
recruitment. We're at the part of where we just kill them on site.
Like, I remember, because I kind of I rewatched the last 2 episodes because, like, last night, like the night before,
Mm-hmm.
I was in the middle of, like, eating, so I didn't pay attention to, like, the very last episode as much as I should have. So I rewatched it last night with the last 2 with Steve and Chris,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking about, I'm like, it is crazy to me how Barris, like, once the child admits it, she, like, hits the child with the "don't look at the floor." I'm like, so Barris, are you just gonna leave him there, or what's this
And then-
kid gonna do?
And then there's the don't go back.
Yeah.
For when that village gets.
That's what I mean by "don't look at the floor." She tells him not to look it back.
Yeah, not to go back. Yeah.
I'm also like, yo, Lynn, the fuck? I understand you're supposed to be scary and evil, but what do you gain out of massacring this town?
Dark side. It's just dark
She
side.
wanted to
She wants
increase
that-
her dark side points.
She gets that dark side point. Yeah. Hey, don't you know there's that little bar that goes up? And,
Yeah,
yeah.
it goes from blue to red. She
Yeah, it
wants
goes
hers
from
in
blue
a
to-
hard red.
She wants the cool pose that you get to when you go full red. That or she's going Mass Effect Renegade route.
Yeah, she saw the Paragon and the Renegade, the Paragon and the Renegade options. It was like, yeah.
No, I think it came up. It was a quick time event Renegade option though. It was like one of those like you have to quickly hit R2 for it to happen. So it's just it's like she's in the middle of a conversation and all of a sudden the R2 popped up and she's like, oh, I should hit that. But no, I like.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
Lynn, Barris is trying so hard for the Paragon options, despite the fact.
Yeah,
that
no,
she-
like in the first episode of her arc, she didn't even want to kill that guy.
Yeah.
She was like, "I'm trying not to kill you. We're in the middle of a Fortnite arena with the closing in on us.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, I don't want to end this 1v1. There's another way." And bro's like, "Nah, I'm gonna kill you."
It's like we're in the chamber with the one gas mask. Do you really want this?
And then Barris is like, "I will self-defend."
All right, fuck it. I guess.
Because I would argue that was self-defense at that point. It wasn't. While she gave into the dark side, it was a self-defense.
Push to
It was
it.
a push self-defense moment. It wasn't a something she wanted.
She's like, I didn't wake up expecting to kill this guy today, but you forced my hand.
And we know that in Star Wars, like, that doesn't make, like, using the dark side like that does not automatically make you bad. Like, it's not a case of, oh, I'm evil now because I did this.
Yeah.
It's like, no. It's a pattern of behavior. You have to, you build up a pattern of behavior. And that's why, like, Anakin.
Yeah. Anakin does it when
like-
he's not under extreme
Yeah.
duress.
That's why Anakin ends
the
up the way he
difference.
does. Yeah, that's like why Anakin ends up the way he does. Is there's a pattern of behavior, and like you said, he does it even when it's not necessary. So like, there's a pattern.
Whereas with Barris, she's like, I'm out of options, man.
Yeah, and so, and this guy wants to kill. Like there's no talking him down. And so, I liked it overall. I liked the show a lot, and so I just I kind of agree with some people that I would have liked to see more actual Imperial characters. But now there's a lot of. So I guess we kind of agree that the Bears are our favorite episodes. And is there a specific episode in mind that you prefer, or?
I do. I like the second one a lot.
Yeah, I think I agree. It really exemplifies Barris as a character and like who she is and her morals and where she stands and that she just cares about people.
Yeah.
And, you can argue that even the things she does in Clone Wars, while not great that they wrote that Barriss being the one to do it, it makes sense that Barriss did what she did because it was out of caring for the non-Jedi. Like, she cared about the people of the Republic. And so she understood that the people were frustrated with the war going on. And it's a lot of... Star Wars is political, despite what people will say. It's almost a view at either... It's honestly a commentary on two different wars. It's a view on commentary of the Vietnam War and how the public turned against it, as well as the war in the Middle East and how people turned against it. Yeah. It's very similar conversation where at first everybody was like, yeah, we gotta go there, and then as it went on, people started to realize, actually, should we be doing this? And so that's kind of the Clone Wars as well. The Clone Wars is a war where everybody was like, yeah, we gotta take down these separatists, and then as it went on, the people were like, why are we
here?
Why are we supporting?
Why are we doing this?
Why are we giving our funds? Why are our taxes going to more clones? Why are we? And it's why like people like Padme was trying to slowly defund that, and because she realized that the people don't support this, and also the war can't go on forever. Like, it has to end, and so just funding more soldiers will continue.
Don't worry, Padme. Anakin sure as fuck ended it.
Just not the best way.
Not in the best way, but it's over now.
Immediately causing a second war. Yep. Like, literally, there's almost no break between the wars. There's like maybe a year between. Like,
there's no one to sign that treaty because Anakin killed them all.
Because you could argue that like the Galactic Civil War, which is the name of the war in the original trilogy, is a continuation of. It's just a continuation of the Clone Wars. It's still Separatists versus no longer Republic and Empire, except this time the Separatists are on the better, they're on the more arguably good side, whereas the Republican Separatists in the Clone Wars were a little bit more gray, and that the problem is they were both being controlled by corrupt political alignments, and so both sides were corrupt, but also there were people on both sides that just made them good. Whereas the Galactic Civil War does not have that argument. Yeah. The Galactic Civil War, the Empire is straight up evil, and
obvious.
Yeah, the Empire is straight up evil, and the rebels are good guys, even if they are doing what would be considered terrorist acts. And so,
in conclusion, go to Galator 3. It's a great time. You'll get robbed, but it's a great time. Or come visit scenic Corellia, where you'll also be robbed.
Or go anywhere Jedi are and hope that the Inquisitors don't show up, and expect Jedi to Jedi.
Yep.
Because that's how they always find them.
All you have to do to catch a Jedi is let them Jedi. It's not that hard.
Let them do good for people, and we will find them.
Yeah, unless you're Obi-Wan and you have to be talked into it.
But Obi-Wan was going through trauma.
So was Cal.
Yeah. Cal also didn't do anything, though, for a few years. To be fair, he was also a child. Man, he was a child. He didn't start doing things until he was an adult.
Yep.
He was like, I'm a kid, I don't know.
Like, I'm 12. I'm 12. That shit was traumatic. My not dad got bodied pretty hard.
In front of me.
Yeah. And admittedly, it took like 80 guys, but still.
And then, I crash landed on a planet and then became became a trash man.
Yeah, I do sick parkour tricks in the junkyard.
I'm the trash man.
It helps me with my stress, said Cal.
No, that's what the music's for.
Yeah.
That's why he's got the rock going.
Oh.
That's why he's got the rock music. It's to help him. Oh man, at least he works at a place where they don't yell at him for having headphones at work. He gets to have his headphones at work, listen to his music, and just do his work. As long as he's doing his work, nobody cares. As long as he's tearing ships apart. But then he tries to save people, and he tries to Jedi, and
Things don't necessarily work out.
He Jedis, and then the Inquisitors show up, and they're like, "Hey, somebody Jedi'd."
We felt it in the air.
Also, our probe droid saw it.
Yep.
You did it right in front of a probe droid. You did it right in front of the CCTV cams.
I'm not necessarily moving back on.
Yeah,
topic.
back to on topic. Yeah.
I'm not necessarily like sad that Barriss is dead, but on the other hand, I'm like, it's a fitting end for someone as troubled as Barriss. I think she's like at peace.
Yeah, because I mean, I'd argue at the start of episode 3, she's found peace.
Yeah.
Like I'd say, like by the time we see her in episode 3, her peace has been resolved. She is happy with where she is in life, and something that she hasn't really had.
Yeah.
Like she hasn't had
Barriss,
peace.
I think, would do well in any other line of work rather than
Or any other era of Jedi.
Yeah.
Like High Republic era would be prime Barriss, good times.
Mhm.
Sort of.
Sort of.
High Republic's filled with a lot of sad, but it's a different kind
You know
of sad.
what I mean? Like, Barriss would be a good Jedi at any other point in time. But she was born in this era.
Yeah, I'd say the Clone Wars era is like the hardest time to be a Jedi.
Because it's like, Jedi are supposed to be peacekeepers, and it's like, not anymore. You're a soldier now.
Yeah, like we're peacekeepers and negotiators. Nope, now you're in charge. You're generals.
Two generals.
Which we kind of can see that kind of building up in the High Republic of that being a status norm.
Yeah,
And
once
so-
they activated the Guardian Protocol.
Yeah, which we'll get to see more of on next week's topic, actually. We get to see the activation of that, as well as people's reaction to that a little bit more in depth than we did in the book so far.
I do remember, like, way back when we were reading, like, the...
Eye of Darkness.
No, it's the one where, like, a bunch of talks between, like, Jedi and Sith short stories come out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm remembering, like, for Barriss, they have one with her and the, like, sword master that teaches people at the Jedi Temple. I'm like, Barriss, you are asking the wrong kind of questions to the wrong person.
Yeah.
Like, it's good that you're asking the question, but I don't think maybe you should ask this guy in particular, because he's like, I teach people how to fight. That's my job.
Which there should
on
be...
the other hand,
yeah.
it's also one of the best people to ask, but also one of the worst people to ask.
And it's also still... Not to negate the combat of Jedi, they still have to know that. That's the other thing. They still should know it, and it's actually a weakness that we've seen in the High Republic era, where they're like, not a lot of us learn that. We don't really understand that combat thing as much. Like because, or at least against other lightsabers, I should say. Like they don't understand lightsaber versus lightsaber combat, and it's even worse in the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars era
Highlights it.
Yeah, like highlights that
Especially-
lack of ability.
Especially when you've got Dooku over there teaching people, like, here is everything you need to know. I'd say, like, Dooku via teaching is probably responsible for
the
a
few
part-
who know how to fight it.
the few who know how to fight it, and also, by extension, the most deaths of Jedi until Order 66 happens.
Yeah, because, like, Dooku does legitimately try to train them in lightsaber combat. He's like, no, you should still know this. But that's because Dooku, at least before his turn, is also aware that the Sith are probably still lurking around somewhere. Like, he knows it's a problem. He's one of the few who still see that that's a problem that could arise. Because, I mean, with Dooku Jedi Lost, we get that. We get that character that's like, hey, Sith are still a problem, maybe. So we should, at the very least, even if they're not a problem, we should still study them and know our history still, at the very least.
Meanwhile, everyone else is like, we got other problems.
Yeah. Like, how are we supposed to make Valorum happy?
Yeah. But, I wish I could remember who the name of the instructor instructor.
I think it was Sindrelig.
Yeah, Syndraulic.
Yeah,
I'm
because
like,
that's who it is in Legends, and so I think they kept that in canon. Sindrelig is because it's a anagram of the stunt coordinator for the movie for the prequel movies. It's Nick Gillard is his name, and so
I see.
and he's played by Nick Gillard too in the
Okay.
film, so it's Sindrelig.
Yeah, but I'm like, like Syndra. One of the things that I think the Jedi kind of lack is an understanding of combat principles in terms of philosophy as well, like as a whole.
Mhm.
And it is Syndraulic's job to know and kind of educate people on that matter.
Yeah, because he's in charge of the combat training. It's his
So I think that like
at least until you get a proper
Mm.
Jedi master, then it's your master's job. But even then, you still have Sindrog to fall back on.
yeah, Syndraulic is who you go to touch up on like your forms and general like weak points.
Mm-hmm. Or at least that's his role. That's supposed
That
to
is
be his role.
designated job.
That's supposed to be his role. Anyways.
Like,
now whether or not he's properly doing it, that's a conversation for a different episode probably altogether. I mean, that'd probably be a Revenge of the Sith when we get there conversation of look how quickly Anakin kills half of these people.
Syndraulic's over here like, look man, I can only teach them so much. The rest you have to do on your own.
Once again, yeah, because like I said, part of it does fall onto your master to continue that training. Once you get a master, that is their job is to be your one teacher, because it's a one-on-one thing for until you are equipped to become a Jedi Knight. And that's why they don't do until Palpatine does his version of the Guardian protocols, where they start going, hey, we're gonna rush enlistment, so we're gonna start making younglings and Padawans knights faster. Until that happens in Brotherhood, they were not knighting you until they felt you were actually ready for it. They would be like, okay, we're gonna test them on this. Now you might not have to do all the tests, but they would go, you gotta test on this, test on that. Did they get this feat done? How did they? Do they have the wisdom to be a knight? Do they have the strength? Do they have the resolve? That type of stuff. But then Palpatine throws that out.
It's like, I need them out on the field now.
And that's the other thing is people blame the Jedi for the child soldier thing. No, it's a Palpatine thing. Palpatine played chess so hard to make that happen. And he's like, nah, we really need you guys. You guys are... And think about the morale of the Republic if you guys didn't do this.
Yeah.
And
you know who I think should have had like talked with Syndraulic as well?
who's that?
I can't. The protagonist from the Red Blade.
Oh,
I feel like she would have had a much better time of it if she had talked with him.
I am curious how that conversation would have gone. That would have been interesting. Because I don't know if Syndraulic would have been able to explain everything. Because once again, well, also he wouldn't have known
Yeah.
he wouldn't have known half the information some of the others know, like stuff that Mace Windu knew and that her own masters knew, because they knew stuff about her past that Syndraulic wouldn't have been able to explain.
Yeah, that's not one.
Because I don't think he would have been.
I don't think it would have helped in that regard.
Because that is the major underlying issue towards her combat style. Like, that's the underlying issue, is her past and her not being able to confront it because nobody will tell her.
Also, maybe don't have your aunt train you at the Jedi Temple. It doesn't really work out when relatives look out for relatives,
Especially if you don't tell them.
because it's not
That's the worst part.
that.
If you don't tell them.
Hmm.
Which we've now seen twice.
Yep, it never works out.
Having a relative not tell you and then be watching over you.
Yep.
Because that creates more trauma, not less. But yeah, back to Tales of the Empire though. I know we talked more about the Barris stuff, but let's kind of delve into the Morgan stuff. And
Morgan is an interesting one because I'm like, I don't hate you. I don't hate the
It's just I
character.
don't understand you yet.
I don't understand you.
And I
I don't know what your deal is.
I'm kind of starting to get it, but it doesn't matter because we know what happens to her. She's not around. She's dead. But at the same time, I think this is also stuff to kind of feed into Thrawn's plans as well. It's also weird that they made her kind of the semi-inventor of the TIE Defender plan. When a lot of people were like, oh, that's like up until now, that's been Thrawn's baby. So it's kind of weird that Morgan gets the credit for that now. But we'll see. We'll see where they're taking that. Not that it matters because we know that project fails. Because once again, that's another case of we know where this goes because Rebels.
Yeah.
It fails. It fails very badly. It does not work. Mainly because of the Rebels game, kind of.
Yeah. I'm also like, I guess it's good to know what kind of timing you were on back in the day. Morgan, I've went and I've shot the New Republic dignitary. I've blown up their ship, and I've decided this force is going to burn until you get back to work and do what I tell you. You're under my protection, so don't worry about it. Very much in the
and that explains how we end up where we do in the Mandalorian season 2.
Like, all right, lady, sure, I guess. I don't know why you felt the need to burn the forest. I
think it was a show of power.
Yeah.
It was just a show of power, and they also had to explain how we get to why Corvus looks so bad in Mandalorian season 2.
Okay.
Because remember, Corvus in Mandalorian season 2 looks messed up.
Well, remember, I haven't seen.
You've seen season 2?
Have I?
Yeah, it's season 1 you didn't see. I think, or did we skip season? Now you got me doubting.
I think I came in.
Oh, you came in for Book of Boba Fett.
Book of Boba Fett in season 3.
You're right. Oh.
So I'm like,
okay,
where the fuck is this?
So they had to explain why Corvus looks the way it does because that's how it looks in Mandalorian season 2, and also the other guy, the guy that's representing the people, he shows up in the
I see
in the show. So
also like when the ambassador shows up to Morgan's planet and is like, "Don't worry, I'm here to help." I'm like, we're under a dictatorship, and you brought 4 guys with you.
I do think the weirder thing is
also
Bo-Katan on the comms, because she's not part of the New Republic at this time, but she's like on the New Republic frequency.
Is that who that is?
Yeah, that's Bo-Katan. It's like in the subtitles it says.
Oh, okay. I didn't see.
It says who it is. Yeah. I'm curious about that. Because at the time, she wouldn't have been working with the New Republic.
Yeah, but also, like, why does this ambassador lady have Bo-Katan on speed dial?
Well, it's New Republic emergency line.
Oh, so it's just whomever.
Yeah, it's a New Republic emergency line. That's why it was. Because remember, they say, "Oh, you're on the New Republic channel."
Yeah.
So.
Okay, that.
So I'm curious about that. There's some pieces here and there where I'm like, okay, how do I connect that to the greater stories of Star Wars and like the arc going on here? Because what is Bo-Katan's story at this point?
I'm also like, I guess while they're once again the New Republic, I'm not gonna hate on them too hard.
They are trying.
They're trying.
Unfortunately, they make some mistakes that the U.S. have.
Like looking at it, right? If I'm a villager in Morgan Elsbeth's little dictatorship, and the New Republic shows up with 4 guys, and like these all, I couldn't take them seriously.
It's the New Republic armor, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I know you're not trying to look threatening or intimidating at all. You're trying to like be reassuring about this, but I'm like, there are like 4 of you. I can't take you guys seriously, even like with your spouting of promises of like.
I think it's more.
I want them to succeed.
I think it's,
but I can't take them seriously.
I think it's even weirder that somebody who knows Morgan Elsbeth, the ambassador, is like, "Yeah, we can trust her to try to make a deal." Why?
Why?
Why can we trust her? You've seen
her sell you guys out.
You've seen what she does.
She's like, I have hope. I'm like, hope ain't meaning shit right now.
Yeah, this was a case of bad decision after bad decision on New Republic's end. But they also basically did the Star Wars version of Operation Paperclip, which was not.
It's like, this didn't work out the way you'd hope.
Which is how we got the First Order.
Yep.
Because they were like, yeah, we'll reinitiate you Imperials. You guys were totally not terrible war criminals. You guys didn't do anything awful. Instead of putting them on trial and no, we're gonna rehabilitate but not even like prison rehabilitate. We're gonna give them essentially freedom. We'll watch them a little bit. We'll send somebody to check on them every week, but that's about it.
Anyhow, enjoy your apartment complex.
Where you're neighbors with fellow ex-Imperials,
yep.
So that way you can totally not plan to do terrible things again.
You know,
once again, proving that Star Wars is political though, because like it's obviously that is obviously a like Operation Paper. Like this is supposed to be commentary on Operation Paperclip. Like so obviously, and how we just kind of let you know things that rhyme with Yahtzee back into.
Here's a crazy thing. Just you know what? I'm gonna ask this.
Yeah.
So. You're in the New Republic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your job is to look after former ex-Imperials that are, like, cohabitating in this one area.
And claiming that, you know, hey, we're going to try to be New Republic citizens.
Right. You get to change one thing. You get one thing. It doesn't matter what it is. You get to change one thing for them.
They can't be in direct communication. That's the biggest... Like, they can't be meeting with each other. That's... Because that's how they scheme again. We see it. We see it in the show. We see it in Mandalorian Season 3. That's how they start doing things again. Is because they get to just sit at a bench and just talk to each other, have lunch together, and be like, so how was your day? And it's just like... That's how they got back. Like... And then we see, like...
The New Republic does a lot of dumb shit. That's one of them. The same one is, like, when they're decommissioning, like, the old ships, but there are still... It happens in Ahsoka, where they're using, like, old Imperial tech and such in their ships. I'm like... So you got rid of the ships, but you kept the processors... And still use those?
And you didn't you didn't wipe it in any way? You just kind of said, like, it's fine.
What are you doing? Now, as for the one thing I would change, right, if I'm in charge of like that, I'm like, you know what? We're just gonna have... So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mic up the apartment buildings. And
I don't know if that's... I don't know if that's...
Above board. Don't actually do this.
I was gonna say
this is a level of ruthlessness.
That's some. Are we back in the Empire sort of shit?
You know what? Maybe they'd find it comforting. With the addition of, if you hear them say "Long live the Empire" once, the apartment just explodes.
It's the same equivalent of Hell Hydra.
Yeah. Yeah. If you hear them say that, blow up the apartment immediately.
No, I don't.
I'm like, it's such...
That's a bit much.
That's a bit much, but I love the idea of, like, a former Imperial being like, man, I really miss the Empire. And they're like, damn, they got James today.
Anyways.
So dumb.
Back to Tales of the Empire. Let's give a rating, I think, because we are running out of time. And
so are we doing it based on the
show as a whole?
Okay.
Show as a whole. I'll let you go first.
I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
I was leaning about there, or what I'm gonna say, which is an 8. It's up there. It's a pretty good show. It's
good for what
Star Wars animation continues to just deliver.
Yeah.
Star Wars animation always delivers.
I would rate it higher if I gave a fuck about Morgan Elsbeth, but I don't.
Now, what Tales show do you think should be next season? Because we got Tales of the Jedi, we got Tales of the Empire. People are thinking Tales of the Rebellion, maybe.
Okay.
But what would you like?
Well, I like my bounty hunters, so I'll take Tales of the Bounty Hunters.
That would be a good one too. Tales of the Underworld is what that should be called.
That would be a much better title.
Because then you can go scoundrels as well as bounty hunters. You can really, so maybe not a Han Solo, but somebody else. Like don't pick a Han Solo or Boba Fett. Pick characters. Why did I just forget her name? I know the actress's name. I was gonna say it again. Ming-Na Wen. Go into her character, or go into because then you get a bounty hunter / assassin there, and then maybe a Cad Bane episode. Because while we have a lot of Clone Wars stuff, we don't have a lot of that time in between Clone War. We get some Bad Batch, but we don't have time between Bad Batch and.
I like Cad Bane and how much of an evil fucker he is.
We don't get any of him during, we don't get the lead up to him appearing again in Book of Boba Fett. We don't know why stuff went extra bad between him and Boba Fett. We know they just hate each other. And so it's just like, that would be a good way to give those episodes.
Yeah.
And then you get your Boba Fett still. You get a Boba Fett episode. Don't make it the whole Cad Bane thing, but make one episode like Cad Bane mentoring Boba Fett like they were going to do in Clone Wars, and then show the bad blood between them. And then move on to the rest of Cad Bane's story. And then, of course, similar to Morgan Elsbeth, we know how Cad Bane's story ends. So.
I'm trying to think of another good.
But, yeah, Finnick. That's Ming-Na Wen's character. Finnick would be a great one, I think, to do in a Tales of the Underworld.
Maybe Deva?
Ooh, Deva, and that would be. Ooh, you could spend so much time with Deva. You get Higher Republic. You get.
Because the underworld in Star Wars never really goes away.
No, and so
it's crime.
You would get so many eras with that, and so that would be
like,
and that
Deva
would feed.
Is a fucking scary person to be around, even if she wasn't a cannibal murderer. It's just because she's been around that long in the underworld.
And that would also feed into the idea of, because, I like to think of the ideas of what they should do based on, because I am considering the, what's the word, this syncing of where corporate sync or whatever it's called. The
synergy.
Synergy, thank you. I'm thinking of the synergy of it, because you kind of do have to think about the synergy, because the animated, there is a synergy to these shows. They don't just randomly go, let's do this show. No, they think about it. I mean, that's why they picked certain characters that they did for this one, for Tales of the Empire. They picked Morgan Elsbeth because of the synergy with Ahsoka, right? And it was still recent enough that we have her in mind when watching that show, right? And so, while Deva wouldn't appear in the Acolyte would be out by then, and Season 2 would be up and coming, and so Deva could be like a High Republic character that they show off, and so that'd be a good way to do that. And then maybe a Bossk would be a good one too. Bossk would be fun.
Yeah. We don't know a lot. We don't know a lot about Bossk. We know he's a Trandoshan.
We know he has heavy connections to the Bounty Hunters Guild. Like his dad is one of the higher ups at the Bounty Hunters Guild.
But we don't know a lot about necessarily him as a person. He betrays the rest of the Bounty Hunters group, but
then immediately regrets it.
Yeah.
Ooh. Dirge.
Dirge is another one, because
we have nothing in canon. Nothing in canon. In Legends, we have a lot about Dirge, because Dirge was introduced in the Gindi Clone Wars, and then he got so much information about him after that. But then, of course, with the canon reset, we had no Dirge until he appeared in Aphra, and now we've got so much Dirge starting to pop up. Dirge would be great for an underworld.
Yeah.
And once again, that's another character that if they go with the Legends route of his aging, then we could also see him in the High Republic era too.
Yeah, because he's been around for a long fucking time.
Because in Legends, he was alive for 1,000 fucking years. So if they lean into that, his race being a long-lived species, with the Gendai, they're pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty cool.
Nyan, almost immortal.
Yeah,
Emphasis on
almost. If you take out their heart, they'll still die. It's why they're. I would argue that that's one of the harder fights in Jedi Survivor.
Well, it should be.
I'd argue that it's up there at like almost the top.
Are you kidding me? Revis wants all the smoke.
Him and Bode are the hardest fights.
Yeah. Bode, because Bode's
a tough fight. Bode is like he
Bode
is coming
not
at you.
fucking around.
No, I would say weirdly enough, Dagon wasn't that difficult.
Dagon is. It's a case of, I think, narratively, Dagon is the hardest fight from like a skill perspective.
Because he's been around.
Yeah.
But also hasn't because he's been in the Bacta for so long.
Yeah. He's suffering that back to tank debuff.
Yeah.
Ravis has been active. Bode has been active. But Ravis is like a durability fight. And
now this
Dagon
is also
is a
me.
skill.
This is also me talking without having played it on Grandmaster difficulty yet, though. Like I'm talking from just a regular mode.
I haven't
But,
played the game,
yeah,
but I'm
you've
thinking
seen it in
I've seen it,
narrative
and I'm
layer.
thinking narratively. Dagon is an endurance fight. Sorry. No.
Ravis.
Ravis is an endurance fight. Dagon is a skill fight, and Bode is a just go the fuck away. That's what he wants from Cal. He's like, I don't give a shit about this war. I just want to live here with my daughter and not have to deal with this shit.
And I don't
Because
want this
no
to
one
be a
will-
hideout for
and
people because if it is, then
Because if it is,
it brings trouble.
It never works.
Yeah.
They always find us.
So, I'd be interested to, but yeah, going back to Ravis, like or Dirge. Dirge
Yeah,
would be
Dirge.
great.
Apparently, he just wants Dirge just wants everyone to be so fucking quiet. Do you think Dirge just gets really bad migraines?
Deathstick would also be.
That's another one because we don't know shit about Deathstick.
We know she's a very good assassin and good at what she does and hates everybody.
Yep.
But yeah, so that would be I agree with you. That would be a great
Tales
pitch
of the
for
Underworld.
Tales of the Underworld. I'm down for it. That should be the next. That should be the next one. Although I think Tales of the Rebellion is probably also more likely. But either way, I think I'm interested to see what they do. I'm excited. And in a few weeks we get. Very soon we're getting Acolyte, so we're right on that. Like, because what it's in maybe less than a week now. It's a week. It's like 2 weeks. 2 weeks, give or take. So
Hey man, you want to go on vacation for 2 weeks? We can just do Acolyte when we come back.
no, because we wait till the show's over to do our review,
Oh yeah, that's true.
and we're only getting the first 2 episodes, so not the whole show. But yeah, that's it for this week though. Once again, I gave it an 8. For Tales of the Empire, you gave 7.5. Thank you all for watching today's episode of Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I've been your host, Caleb. Be sure to like, comment, follow, subscribe to us. You can find us at Escape Reality Films on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and TikTok. You can also show your support for us by joining our Patreon, which is at Escape Reality Films. Shout out to Jennifer Brantley. I was waiting for it. Usually you do the yo.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
There you can watch our YouTube content before it's publicly available. Also, be sure to check out our Discord, which is also linked wherever you're watching, so you can become a part of our community and hang out with me and Britt as we force each other to watch different shows.
Sometimes I show up.
Yeah, sometimes Seth is there. That's usually on Thursdays. And then you can also find me on Twitter at Escape Reality 94 and Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Caleb.Lockwood. I know you're no longer playing it.
I'm
but...
no longer playing it, but I'm still going to play it anyway. Because they're our friends,
Yep.
and we should look after them. So every Sunday from 5 to 7 Central Standard Time, you can catch some friends of ours over at the Steam Dungeon on YouTube at Trials of Nebu. Boy, oh boy, are these guys having a good time. They are currently, quote...
did he give you...
No. Steven, I asked, how they were doing last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because even though I can't play, I'm still listening to it. I want to make sure.
You're still keeping up.
Yeah. Let me go.
I was gonna say, did they give you an official rundown that?
No, they gave me a bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
So, How are y'all doing? Quote from Steven. Dealing with the fallout of your absolute festival of blood. Also, we found Apep's eye.
Okay.
'Cause I
Because that was I think that was something you mentioned maybe once or twice.
So, Apep's eye had like a whole special power thing.
Oh, so it's like a Vecna thing.
And what it does is it applies conditions onto people as long as he can see them. So when he it's also very funny narratively because while I have to leave because of work and other things, that he was like, yes, Simon is clearly the bitch of the group and the weakest member. And I'm like, well, why would he think that? And I'm like, oh, that's right, because he never saw anyone who has fought Simon has either apologies.
No, you're good. Has either died.
Has either died or been put essentially in critical condition.
So, nobody to tell the stories.
Simon has only gone to Apep once, and it was like, hey, leave the villagers alone, or I'll fucking come back here.
I think we talked about this before, because when watching Black Butler, we were like, yeah, you shouldn't assume that if there's no, like, story about how deadly this person is, that they're not deadly. In fact, you should expect the opposite, that if there is no story being told about how deadly they are probably very deadly.
Yeah. But I'm like, Simon's dead now, and the party is dealing with that. Congratulations, the one martial character you had is full martial is gone.
Yeah. So, I guess we'll see where they go from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, once again, thank you all for watching. Join us next week as we have a High Republic double feature.
Woo!
With the High Republic Shadows of Starlight comic and Tales from the Occlusion Zone Pathogen short story. I have spoken.
Later. Y'all be safe.